Your HR department won't exist in 2030, or at least how it looks today. HR pros will read this or hear this and they'll say, oh, I've seen this song and dance before, but this time is different, and I want to tell you why. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Human Capitalist channel. I am Trent Cotton, your host and AI enthusiast. I want to talk about the exciting world of AI and HR and what HR will look like in 2030. Let's go through 5 ideas that I think are coming in the very near future. So the first one is Agentic AI is not just coming for the administrative jobs, it's coming for the strategic ones too. And in case you missed it, OpenAI just announced in January its AI agent operator. I think I said that right. And this is not the first time that we've seen an AI agent, but this time, for some reason, it just created this massive storm. So before we get into agentic AI, let's talk about what AI agents really are, because there's a lot of misconception out there. All right, so you have single AI agents. Think of these as your skilled freelancer who works independently and they thrive on the gray area and ambiguity. So what they do is they handle complex tasks that don't have a clear step-by-step process, and they adapt to new information and uncertainties to kind of make their own independent decisions. And it also is able to think with what I like to call fuzzy logic, dealing with a lot of that uncertainty, but they're also very autonomous, so they can work independently. And we're already starting to see some of this in the HR tech. It's very low skill, in my opinion, because you still have to check behind. There's still a lot of errors and things that you want to check. Now, you also have multi-agent teams. These are your collaborative problem solvers. So imagine experts that just have their own specialization and they work together as a team and they share their insights to be able to produce an end product. And so what they do is they are able to go and research different things or handle different tasks, but then all together share that context and then build on each other's outputs, and they collectively solve very complex challenges. We've seen a lot of the models in the reasoning area really escalate and evolve over the last, months. And it's just absolutely mind blowing to see what they're able to do now. And don't forget, we just started dealing with ChatGPT in 2023, and now we're in 2025 looking at autonomous agents. So whenever you're looking at multi-layered tasks, maybe payroll, interacting with benefits, interacting with onboarding, that's really where you want to use a multi-layer agent. What does agentic AI mean for HR in the future? Well, there's a lot to be seen for that. I think personally that a lot of HR professionals think that for some reason, AI is only going to affect the administrative functions, those lower skills. It's not going to have anything to do with strategy. And that is so not the truth. There are actual things out there like Google's Notebook LM. Even Gemini has a deep research that can go through and it's mind blowing. If you haven't tried it, go check it out. But I have actually gone in and got it to do some deep research on market conditions and workforce planning. And the content that it was able to put out just with a couple of prompts was absolutely unreal. So the technology is already there. Agentic AI is going to take it up a notch. The key takeaway for the first one, which is agents are coming for strategy as well as administration, is just remember that the AI agents, they are evolving beyond just informational retrieval, meaning they are evolving beyond just putting in a prompt and getting an answer. They're going to be able to act autonomously on their own and provide more value in a more efficient way. So if you think you're safe from the AI invasion, you might want to think again. So number 2, those who survive in HR are not going to be the ones with the most experience. They're going to be the ones who are actually elevating, integrating, and evolving HR with AI right now. Okay. So Davos happened not too long ago, and they had on the CEO from Salesforce, brilliant guy. And he said a quote that really just kind of made me pause.
It probably, this current CEO of Salesforce, the CEOs who are here today, these are the last CEOs who will only really manage a workforce of only human beings. We are really moving into a world now of managing humans and agents together.
I literally paused the video and went, huh. So he said, today's CEOs are likely the last ones who will manage a workforce of only human beings. So that goes back to our first one of agentic AI really affecting HR. But what does this mean for those who survive? It's a pretty jarring reality to look forward and understand that AI is just going to be a commonplace for us. It's going to be just very symbiotic, and it's going to be a happenstance, kind of like being able to pull up maps on your phone 25 years ago. That was just kind of a far off reality. The speed of evolution in AI is unlike anything that we've ever experienced in our lifetimes, and is only going to get faster. A CNN report in January 2025 indicated that 41% of employers plan to downsize their workforce as AI automates certain tasks. So that's the low hanging fruit. We've already talked about how agents are going to go one step further beyond that, but there are two things in HR that we need to make sure that we are getting on board with. The first is you better get ready for a major reshuffle in the workforce. That is going to be nothing compared to what we're going to see over the next 5 years due to AI. And then the second one, if you're not getting ahead of the curve to find the right ways that you and your team can leverage AI and start the revolution on your own, then your days are numbered. And I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of HR people. I'm going to be called a doom slayer or doom sayer, whatever that word is, but it's a reality. And the sooner that you and your teams can embrace that reality and start creating what that reality looks like for you and your organization, the better chances are that you will actually thrive beyond 2025. So you don't have to wait on your engineering departments to build some cool AI tool or even HR tech at this point. There are so many no code options out there. And trust me, I've played with a lot. I am not a developer. My brain just doesn't work that way. I love numbers. I love logic. And with these no code options, I'm actually able to get something to an MVP and then let an engineer take it on from there. So I encourage you, go out there and play around. You can't break anything. And if you haven't already met with your HR department about your AI strategy for 2025 and beyond, stop the video and go ahead and book that meeting with your team now. They'll thank you later. So I know this is going to piss off and hurt a lot of my TA and learning and development friends, but we've got to face the truth. All right. We've already seen how AI has slowly and actually over the last year, very rapidly going toward that top of the funnel of the employee experience, which is recruiting. Everything from sourcing, onboarding, assessment, all of that stuff is already being affected by AI. But what many people are not talking about is that concurrently, there are already tools out there that can do a lot of the heavy lifting for learning and development. You've got Google Research, you've got Claude, you've got Guide, and you've even got some HR tech that's looking and saying, okay, that's probably going to be where that next movement is. And they're going ahead and infusing AI and trying to find a way that you can develop learning content in a very short amount of time without sacrificing the quality. So if much of the recruiting process can stand to gain from AI integration and automation, the amount of time that it is taking learning content to be researched, developed, and launched is not going to increase. It's actually going to decrease. Why wouldn't HR departments look at just combining those two functions? It makes so much sense. So I want you to think about this. This is like my utopia that I am actively in my current job. I am trying to make this a reality, but I do believe that in 2030, this is going to be what the employee experience looks like. All right. So just kind of let's go in the future. You ready? Okay. So talent advisor gets a new job. They do the normal. They sit down and have an intake meeting with their hiring manager, which is recorded, transcribed, and an agent goes in and creates that job description. Once that talent advisor looks at it, makes a couple of changes, hits go, two other agents go out. One focuses on the internal. Who internally do we already have that meets the qualifications for this job? While another one goes out and does the external sourcing. So a lot of that's already in play. We're already seeing some companies do that, but let's go one step further. All right, so you've got the assessment. AI interviewer goes and does some basic analysis, says, yes, this person is qualified according to the JD, goes ahead and schedules a time for the talent advisor to sit down and actually have not an interview, but a career discussion. I don't have to worry about, is this person qualified, because the AI has already done that for me. Now I can sit down and ask you, what does the perfect job look like for you? What's your career path look like? Where do you want to be in 5 years? and make sure that that aligns with what the organization is going to be able to provide, thus enhancing the employee experience. Then another agent comes in, they're able to help schedule all the panel interviews, they're gathering the feedback from the managers, analyzing it, giving a report to the hiring team as well as the talent advisor. They make a decision, goes to offer, and then an AI onboarding agent comes in. And I'm not talking about someone that says, hey, fill out this paperwork. That's a portion of it. But think about how they can go and say, hey, have you checked out our YouTube channel? Hey, here's a message directly from our CEO. Go check out our swag store. So it's not just handling some of the operational things and onboarding, it's keeping them engaged, keeping them excited. And then once that person starts a month after, imagine having an agent reach out to them, evaluate how their first month has been, get some feedback from them, but then also say, all right, I know this is early. You've only been with us for a month, but here's all the different career paths that are available at ABC Company. Let's explore what's next for you. And then they work on a gap analysis and say, in order to get to this next level, these are some of the skills that you need. They have access to the calendar. They have access to the availability. Here's a learning plan. Do you want me to go ahead and book about an hour a week for you to start working on this learning plan? Imagine how an employee would feel knowing that something, even if it's AI, something is involved and taking ownership of helping that person develop to the next. And I promise you, it's not too far away. We're already starting to see some of these things come in, and I am here for it. I'm excited. And I really think this is where HR is really going to evolve into that human capital. So this is just a tip of the craziness that goes on in my head whenever I start thinking about the future of HR, but it's something to be excited about. If I were hired tomorrow for a CHRO position for a large enterprise company, you can damn well bet that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to be laser focused. How do I take TA and learning and development and create one department at the benefit of our employees? All right, so number 4 is going to be that the HR business partner role, or HRBP is what we commonly call it. It's going to evolve into an AI human integration specialist. They're going to be looking at how can we leverage AI internally? How do we prepare the employees to interact with that agent or that AI specialist or automation? They're also going to be highly focused now on how do you upskill and reskill your current workforce to get ready to be a part of the workforce of the future. There's also going to be, at least in my mind, there's going to be a new position that comes up, not just in companies, but I think specifically in some of the more regulated parts of the organization like finance, HR, an AI strategist owner. That doesn't sound good. Let's try that again. An AI strategy owner. We'll work on that. Anyway, you get the gist, right? Someone who is responsible for understanding what the AI policies and the ethical guidelines are within a particular department as it relates to AI. I think that HR business partners are going to take a part of that on because we manage risk for the organization. AI does present some risk. And I think that a lot of departments are just going to naturally say, hey, that's an HR thing. Let me get with my HR business partner. And also, too, we're going to continue to see this incredible need for HR business partners to be data driven. Now, being able to understand the data, where does it come from, be able to ask the right questions, and then formulate a strategy based off of that data is going to be the norm in 2030 for all HR business partners. All right, so my last one is smart HR leaders are already having those tough conversations with their departments today. I love the irony that some of the hardest conversations never had are in HR. We are so good about going to our business partners and encouraging them and being witness to some of these hard conversations. But whenever it comes to having it in our own department, a lot of times it's just silence. And that's not good. We got to fix that. So if you are in HR leadership and you know some of the changes that are coming as a result of AI and how your department is going to have to evolve, one, you need to have that strategy meeting that I talked about earlier in the video. Next, you need to sit down and have these conversations with your employees. So just a couple of things that I would cover if I were in your shoes. First, what's the reality of that person's job in the future? And be honest with them. If all they're doing is managing a process or pushing paper or researching things, you need to be very honest with them and let them know that there's a very substantial risk that their job may be eliminated as a result of AI. The next is you also need to sit down, not just give them the bad news, but also talk about the reality of their capabilities and give them some encouragement and give them a plan to start evolving their skills today and then hold them accountable to it. That's the biggest thing. We're good at going in and saying, hey, here's what you need to do, but we're not good at making sure that we're holding those people accountable. If you're not having these conversations now as an HR leader, you're committing malpractice, at least in my opinion. So make it a point, be honest with your employees, and sit down and create that roadmap and then let them know how are they going to fit into the future of HR. So that's my top 5. That's where I see the future of HR going by 2030. In case you forgot, first is the agents are coming, and not just for the administrative jobs, they're coming for the strategy too. Number 2, HR that survives beyond 2025 and thrives is the one who is looking at building an AI strategy of integration today. Number 3, recruiting and L&D, they're just not going to be around in 2030. We're going to have a new division called talent. Number 4, the HRBP role is going to evolve. It's going to be data driven. It is going to be focused on AI and human integration, and it's going to have a piece of AI compliance in it. And then number 5, the most important one, start having those hard conversations with your HR department today. I'm Trent Cotton, your human capitalist. I hope you got something out of this. If you agree or disagree, put it in the comments. I want to have a great conversation about this. If we're not talking about it today, we're going to be talking about it over the next 18 months, and it's probably not going to be fun. All right. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe and share this with someone else in the HR community. And until next time, invest in yourself because no one else is going to.